Hello friends, this is Shelley. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this adorable country bear. I call him a country bear because he looks like he's from the country. I'm using Lion Brand Heartland yarn. It's one of my favorite yarns. The main color of the body there is Grand Canyon. Then the orangey one that you kind of see is called Yosemite, and the green one is King Canyon. I think these colors are so beautiful together. And you just need one ball of the Grand Canyon and just a little bit of the other two balls, and you can make this beautiful bear. Okay, so I am also using my Addi 46 needle and my 22 needle machine for this project. So thanks for joining me. Please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. I would appreciate it so much. And we're going to just get right into it. Take care, friends, and have fun. All right, friends, so to begin this project, we're going to take our Addi 46 needle machine, and we're going to bring our last white and our first black needle in line with our yarn guide. And we are going to take our body color, our main body color. For me, that's Grand Canyon from the Heartland yarn. And we're going to cast on going in front of that first black, behind, in front, behind, in front, and behind, all the way around. You know what? You're just letting it slip through your fingers. You're not putting any tightness on this at all. And before we get to the other side, to the other end, we're going to put our counter to 0. So it's all set and ready to go. This part is very easy because we're going to stick with this one color. You'll see that it's behind that last white needle. We're going to put it into our yarn feeder. I hold it between my two fingers like that so I can feel if the end of the ball is coming or if there's a knot or anything that I need to pay attention to, okay? And we're going to slowly knit our first row. I say slowly because there's no weight to push this down yet, of course. And so we don't want to, we want these loops to stay down over the two little red teeth as that needle brings down our yarn. And there we go. And you know what, for this particular yarn, it is such a dream to work with in our machines that I doubt that any of you will have any problems with it if you're using the right tension and the right speed. And you always got to determine that. You can go a little bit faster, and if you find those loops aren't going down over the red teeth, then you know you're going too fast, and you got to slow it down. Because if these little loops stay on the needle and don't drop down, you'll get a touch stitch. Okay, so we're going to just keep knitting like this, going on our merry way around, sipping your coffee if you need to. And friends, we're going to keep going until we have 72 rows. But I'm going to keep going till it touches the table. And for those of you who are new, come back on, and once your project starts to touch the table, then pause it here and come back on, and I'll show you what you do with it. All right, friends, go ahead, keep knitting until you get 72 rows. All right, so I'm at row 62 and it's touching the table. I'm almost done in my project, but it's still important that I pick it up and I put it into a donut, because if I don't, then the slack from when it pushes up, when it hits the table and pushes up, I could risk dropping the loop off these two teeth. So I want to roll it up, make my chances of that happening less, and also tightening up my tension around the barrel here, so it pulls those little stitches down as I continue working. And then I'm just going to keep going. I only have 10 more rows to do. I just clicked on 63 and I'm going to go until I get to 72. There, I just finished row 72. I've placed my last white, my first black, in line with my yarn guide, and I'm going to cut off a tail that is long enough to go around my barrel 1.5 to 2 times so that we can cast off. Okay, so I've got that cut. I'm going to open my latch, making sure that this yarn tail goes between the last white and the first black. Make sure you don't leave this open, because as you turn your barrel, the needle's going to clip the edge of that, and you can break either or both. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to cast off. So I'm going to thread my needle. This is a metal wool needle. It has a nice plastic edge or end to it. You can see that. I don't know if you can see that. And easy to thread. Okay. I get them at Walmart or Amazon. I'm going to rotate my barrel until those needles drop down. So here's the first one. It's on the left of this black divider. That needle dropped down. I can now take my stitch off. Okay, and the next one. And pull that through and rotate a bit more and remove your stitches. Holding them on your needle with the thumb. Now pull your yarn strand out straight out this way, not up, because if you pull it up and you put too much pressure on it, it's going to take this loop off those two little teeth and drop your row. So be very, very careful when you're doing this part as well. Okay, I'm going to get in there, take them off. You can also put your finger over that needle and you pull through, just for added security. And you're going to go around and you're going to release all of these stitches from those little red teeth. Until you get all 46 or 48 if you're using your centro stitches off your machine. Okay, friends, go ahead, complete that, and I'll see you back. There we go. I've got all of my stitches removed from my machine. I'm going to go ahead and remove my machine, and we're going to assemble this piece. We have our body piece off the machine. This yarn is so soft and beautiful. We're going to stretch it widthwise and lengthwise, just like that. Okay, now we're going to take one end, doesn't matter which end, and we're going to tighten it. So smooth out that top as you pull it closed. See, because otherwise you get it bunched up like that. And if you just pull tight until it closes, it's going to be a messy top. So you always want to pay attention to that little detail. Smooth it out. Okay, I'm going to put this on my needle. Don't need it this long. So I'm going to cut it off. And we're going to reinforce around that top row of stitches, okay? So you're just going to take your needle, you're going to smooth this out, you're going to find that very top row of loops, and you're going to go around once. Or twice, however many times you want to. Just to secure it. I think once is enough. This yarn is pretty sturdy. So I'm going around. And a little bit more. I'm going to pull. I'm going to pick up 2 strands, tie off in a knot, pull that knot down with my finger nail. Then I'm going to put my hand inside my tube, put this needle into the center, grab the point of the needle with my inside hand so that it doesn't snag on the work, pinch the top and pull it through, putting my piece in half. Just like that. Give that a tug to get that knot on the inside. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take this other one and you're going to do the same thing, making sure that this tail stays out, okay? So smooth this out, pull it closed, reinforce it around once. Okay, friends, go ahead and do that. I'll meet you right back. Okay, I've got it around and just got to give it one little knot here. Just like, oops, I'm going to lose my tail. Just like that. Push that down with my thumbnail. Then I'm going to take this inside one and pull it up to the top here as best as I can, and I'm going to tie off a firm knot, bringing those 2 pieces together. Just like that. Be careful, friends, that you don't snap it because it really is easy to do. And we're going to tie off in a knot, and I'm going to do it one more time. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut this off a little bit shorter, and we're going to turn it the other way so that that's the inside. Now my tails are on the inside, okay? Got a nice, beautiful top. Take your hand and just smooth it out so you have it right in half. Just like that. You're now going to grab a piece of yarn that goes around your piece 1.5 times. Pop that on your needle, and we're going to put a cinch yarn in the center between the body and the head. So we know that we had 72. That means in half it's 36. So we want to go up 18 rows. So I'm just gonna go from the bottom here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. That will be my halfway mark. I'm gonna just take it up to there because that looks more normal to me. Or what you can do is just fold it in half like that and get as close as you can. I might even go up one more. It just doesn't look just like that. I think that's where I want my division to be, okay? And so then what I'm going to do is when I find that division, here is one row of V stitches. There we go. One stitch there. I'm going to pick up the first half of that stitch, go over the second half, pick up the first half of the next row, over, second half, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, all the way around. Pull that through, but make sure you leave a tail. Then you can just spread that out like that, and you're going to keep going the best you can, staying on the same row. Now, when we knit in the round, every round goes up one. So when you get to the end, it'll be up a round. You're just going to connect the last two together. Okay, just go down and make it even. I'll show you when I get there. Okay, so here we go. I'll be with you when I get to the other side. I'm coming around, and you will soon see that I am one row higher. See, because we knit in the round. So now for this last stitch, I'm just going to go down to here, pick it up, pull it through. And we can cut these a little bit shorter so that they're easier to work with. We're going to then pull on them just slightly, not very much. Actually, you don't even have to do that yet because we're going to stuff it. And we need another yarn about as long as that one to do the bottom, but I'm going to just fill the head here first. Pulling this apart. Get that up in there, then I'm going to pull this. If you tie it a little bit as you go, I don't want to tie it tight though because I have to get up in there to put my eyes. So I just want to get a feel of how round it's getting. So there we go. I'm going to put more in. Pop that in there. What we're doing is we're shaping the head now, and then we're going to actually figure out where we're going to put our eyes, and then we're going to remove the stuffing so that we can close our eyes, the backs of the eyes, and then we'll put the stuffing back in. Works like a charm. Do I feel that that's going to be enough? Now, if I was to pull that a little bit tighter, I think that's perfect because it's filled nicely. We've got a nice round shape. The cavity is full, but we do not have a separation of the rows like that. If you have that, like I mentioned in every tutorial, then you've filled it way too full, and that compromises the look. So you want it to be nice and smooth. You want those rows to stay in place, but you want it to have its rightful shape. So that is about right. So now I'm not going to knot this off again. I'm just going to tie it a little bit tighter. We're going to grab our 22 needle machine, and we are going to make the nose, because once we place the nose onto our piece, then we can figure out where our eyes are going to go, and from there we can center our ears. So let's grab our 22 needle machine and grab the same color of yarn, and let's make the nose. For the nose piece, we're going to bring our last white and our first black needle in line with our yarn feeder on our 22 needle machine, and we're going to cast on going in front of that first black, behind and in front, all the way around. setting our row counter to 0 before we get to the end. It should be behind that last white and into our yarn feeder. Going slowly on the first round so that those loops drop down over the red teeth, and I can just, this is the reason why, I'm just going to grab my pick here. This one split, so part of the yarn went between the two needles, and I'm just going to take my pick and I'm going to lift it up. And that's because there's no weight pulling it down on the inside, so that's why you have to cast on loosely and you have to go slowly for the second round. This one is split too, so I'm going to pick that up. And I do find that sometimes the 22 needle machine will do this more than the 46 needle. I'm not sure why, but it is what it is. And there we go. And I'm going to continue going for 10 rounds. And one more, 10, watching for that black divider to come around in front of my yarn guide. I can then cut off a yarn tail that goes around my barrel 1.5 to 2 times. I'm going to open the latch, put that between the last and the first, and I'm going to rotate my barrel completely around, stopping about there. So here's my first needle that I'm going to release. This is the farthest I could have gone because this needle is going to start pulling up now. And if it would have popped up, of course, it will push that loop off the 2 teeth, and you need to pick it up before that happens, okay? So I'm going to thread my needle. I'm going to pick up that first. Then I'm going to get the second. And I'm going to rotate a little bit more. And we're going to cast off just like this until we have all 22 needles released. Taking our piece, we are going to give it another good stretch. Then we're going to just close one end, smoothing that out. Make sure whichever tail end is the longest that you keep long, because we'll use it for sewing on. Okay, I'm just going to go around one time. This is a little finicky piece because it's going to be smaller as we go, but that's okay. We got this, guys. Okay, so I'm going to just take one strand there, tie a knot, and push that down. I'm going to take this, put it into the center, just like that. I'm going to take this one. I'm going to just set it aside, because we're going to now close up this other end, making sure this long tail stays out. Smoothing this end right here before you close it. And we're getting a little circle. Except for, here's the scoop. You don't want to close this one completely tight. You just want to get it, because we want to have, if you close it too tight and this starts to pucker in here, just loosen it a little bit. Okay? It's not a big deal because this is going to be on the inside. I just want a nice rounded flat pancake, and that is good just like that. If you can get yours completely flat without any creases on the sides here, then you can go ahead and tighten it as tight as you want. But I'm going to just go around. I didn't want to do more rows. I wanted to do it this way because I want to keep it this circumference. Okay, and so we're going to just go around, just like so. Then I'm going to just go underneath and pick up on the side there and tie a knot. That way when I pull on this, it's not going to gather this farther closed. But I'm going to take this one here and I'm going to tie it to this one, just so that the inside comes out, or comes up to the outside one, and they are together. Then I'm going to take this little one and cut it off. And maybe I could just go shorter instead of hiding it. It's knotted, it'll be fine. Just like that, okay? Now what you want to do is you want to bring this one out to the side. Your longer one out to the side. So you're going to just pop it in there, come out to the side here, And then we need to tie it off in a knot. And the reason why we do that is because then if we pull on this, it's not going to gather it in there. And now we have our nose ready to sew on. So grab your piece and a little bit of fiber fill. Taking our piece, and I have this in the back. That's where it's going to be knotted off. Not that it matters. Choose whichever area. Doesn't matter where you choose. It's a circle. Choose whichever area is the nicest for you, that you think is the nicest front. Then we're going to take our piece. We're going to pop this on. I'm not going to sew it flat like that. I'm going to kind of bring it in because I want a little bit of a raised nose, but I'm going to sew half of it on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this, and again, it doesn't matter where you place it because this is the starting point, and then we will have, we'll center the eyes and the ears on this. Okay, so I'm going to place this on here, and I'm going to sew it on to this first. Okay, here's where my neck stitches are. Here's the next row up. I'm going to take that next row up. This is where I'm going to sew it on. And then I'm going to pick up the side here. And then I'm going to just go up. Remember, I'm just going to go halfway around. I'm going to just pick up the side stitch there. And I'm going to pick up stitches as close to this piece as I can get. We're going to sew it on. This is not something that should cause you stress, friends. It's easy to do. Just grab the stitches that are right close to your piece and then pick up the next stitch that's on the nose. Okay. Now I'm going to start. I did the first quarter. Now I'm going to start just pushing this up just a little bit. So because I don't want it flat, remember, but we had to get the first section on. So this is the first quarter. Once you get that on, then you can start forming it better, just like that. And this will automatically fall into place. Okay, so I'm going to just pinch it up just like that to get a bit of a, you can see it from the side, a bit of a rounded effect. And then I'm going to just sew it on. Once you get your stuffing in there, it'll all fall into place. Trust me. You just want to make sure you're not sewing it flat like a pancake. Get the first quarter on, and then you can shape it and it'll be perfect. Okay, I'm going to go around till about there. All right, so I made it around to there, and here's where I started. So I have that section to do. I'm going to take some fiber fill. I don't want it too full. I just want it just nice. Does that make sense? You want it nice. You don't want it too full. That's nice. I could stuff that baby and make this really round, but I don't. I just want it nice. So I'm actually going to take a little tiny bit out of there. Stuff the rest in there. Then I'm going to keep folding that under a little bit as I sew this beautiful, beautiful nose on. Picking up a little bit more here. And this is going to help us center our eyes. And here we go. You guys, I'm watching a Netflix series as I do this. I can't say the name of it on this YouTube video because then YouTube, when it does the checks, will catch it and I will have, you know, gone against some rules. So I will say it starts with an M, and it's like one of these little brown spots that you have on your skin. Like it's one of those and one of those and one of those. Starts with an M and it's a 4-letter word. So if you know what it is, you can put it in the comments. And is it ever exciting to watch? I can't believe it. It's the first time I've watched this series. It's an action series. It's like a game. And it's so addicting. It's so good. I'm loving it. So that's what I do while I create. There we go. I think that's perfect. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to knot that off. And one more time. Pull that down. Go into my work. Out the side of the head. I'm going to pull on it so that knot goes in. You can always feel when that knot goes under. And there you go. These are 16 millimeter eyes, and I get them off of Amazon. They came with a set of ranging sizes. And then they had these little inserts that you can put in to change, like I can either leave this out and it would be a clear eye, and then you would see this color underneath, or you can insert, for this particular size, the option is gray. And I thought it would look nice to put the gray in there. Even though this is tan, it still looks nice against this. So that's what I did. Now I'm gonna just go, here's the top of my nose. I'm gonna just go out one full row. This row here, let me take my needle. This row here is what's lining up with the side of the nose. So I'm gonna take my eye, and if I go to that row and to the next row and up one, that's where I'm gonna put this eye. So then if I do that over here, here is the, well, I have to just eyeball it. So there we go. That's where I'm gonna put it. Maybe this one's a little too far. I'm gonna actually move it in half a row. And that's where I'm going to put my eyes. So I'm going to just pop those in like that for a second. I'm gonna grab my stitch markers. I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna put it around this stitch there and close it. Shocker, I know I always use bobby pins for stitch markers, but in this case I need to use these. And I'm going to put that on there. That's where my eyes are going to be. So now you can see better. Here's the row that's close to this. Well, if I take this row here, the point of the V is going to the top, but this is really the row that's right at the very edge. And I'm going over and up one. And then I'm gonna match it on the other side. So that's basically where I've chosen to put the eyes. So now what I have to do is I have to untie this. Just like that. We have to take out the stuffing. I'm just gonna simply set it aside there. I don't have to take it out to the very top, just so I can get at the eyes. And then I'm going to take a look at this stitch marker. Keeping my eye on it, I'm going to go into the center of that stitch just like that. Push that through good and solid and find the backing to these. If you're not comfortable with how tight these are, go ahead and put a bead of glue gun underneath here before you push this on, and that will help. But I find these are very tight, so I'm not worried about them. So there's one. I'm going to take this other one, making sure that little silver piece is in here, which it's not, I could tell, so I can show you. This is the little silver circle. If I didn't put it in, it would just be a clear plastic there that would take on the color of the project. But there we go. And I'm going to take out this stitch marker, keeping my eye on it so I can see where this goes. Pop this in here, just like that. And I want to kind of give it an eyeball. Yeah, I think that's perfect. And then I'm going to close this one. You want to pop it in between the stitch, like in between the two bars of a stitch, not in between the rows, because if you put it in between the two bars of a stitch, it's a smaller little fit, and it'll stay secure better. Okay, so let me see. Push that down. See, there's no way this is coming out. These ones are really good quality. They're very, very tight. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pop my stuffing back into my piece. I think if I tighten this a little bit, oops, almost pulled that right through. Be very careful. I'm going to give this a little tie. Just to tighten it a little bit and to hold it. And then I'm going to stuff it the way we had stuffed it before. Okay, go ahead and do that. All right, so I have it stuffed back the way it was. I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to put a yarn tail on there. We're going to close up the bottom. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to make sure this is smoothed out so you have the very edge. I'm going to start at the back here again. And we're going to just, on that edge, we're going to pick up one full stitch. We're going to go over one full stitch. Pick up one full, go over one, pick up, and we're going to do that all the way around, leaving a tail here. Okay. So over one, under, under, all the way around. Very simple. You just got to make sure that this is smooth, okay? And you can quickly go around. And if you miss one and you go on, whatever, just make it work. I try to get every other one, but every 1.5 would work too. The bigger space that you put in between your gathers, the bigger the gather will be at the end, like the more bulky it will be. So that's why I try to do it like that, okay? So now what we're gonna do is pull that a little bit, take our fiber fill, and we're gonna stuff this bottom half. Essentially the same way that we stuffed the top. You don't want it overstuffed so that the stitches begin to separate. You just want it nice and firm. Once you get a good amount in there, you can start closing this, see where you're at. You guys, I think that's all I'm going to put in there. I can tell already it's not even closed, but maybe just a little bit more. All right, I think I have enough in there now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to get those little stragglers out of the way. We're going to tie this off. The best that we can. Don't pull it so tight that you break your strand. Just like that. Now it's secured that way. You can take one strand, put it on your needle. Doesn't need to be quite so long to get in your way. And now all you're going to do is go around the very bottom row of stitches to reinforce and tighten. Any kid is going to love this bear because it is so soft. This is one of my favorite yarns. Any adult would love this bear. It's like, seriously, adults love bears too. They love stuffed animals too. And if you have a friend who is needing a little encouragement, give them a bear. There we go. I'm going to just keep going around, probably 3 times, and pulling till that closes to my desire. See, this is twice and it's just pretty much done. So I'm just going to get around a little bit more. Pull it. That's good. I'm going to take this one. I'm going to tie a very firm knot. 1, 2, and 3. Take both of these tails. I'm going to cut them a little bit shorter so they're easier to work with. Put them back on my needle. Into the center, under the stuffing, and out the side somewhere. Pull up, cut it off. There you go. Looking so cute so far. Okay, now we have to finish our neck. So I do not like a really tight neck. So I actually like that the way it is, and I'm not going to make it any tighter, but you make your neck the way it looks good to you, but I'm going to leave it at that. So all I have to do is take this off, this bow off. If you watch my videos, you know this is where I struggle the most. Any tips? Well, you know what? Because I said before that one thing I recently learned is if you turn it halfway, like, whoops, just hang on, let's do that one more time. Tighten it to where you want it, then give it a turn, and it holds that yarn kind of in place so that you can get a knot in there. If you have any better tips, let me know. I know the obvious, go get somebody to help you, but I don't have anybody home right now. But that worked. I love it. I'm going to tie off in another knot, hide my ends. There we go. All done. There's the back. All our ends are hidden. And if you have little bulges, like if I look from the side here, this is bulging up a little bit. You just want to play with that and set that fiber fill to where it needs to be. You can even roll it a little bit, and that will help. Okay, to shape it, and it will stay in place once it finds its rightful place. Okay, now what I want you to do is grab your 22 needle machine, and we are going to make the ears. You know, it's funny because generally I put the arms and the legs on before I do the face, and this time I chose to do the face first and the ears first, and I don't think it really matters. You just have to have a center point. When you're, like when I do my arms and my legs, then I have a center point for to where to place the nose. But now that I have the nose and the eyes done, and the ears will be on, we'll have a center point for our arms. So it doesn't matter where you start. This particular project, I did it differently than what I normally do. And yeah, I like that. I can see them coming together real good. So grab your 22 needle machine and your Grand Canyon color, if you're following the same color scheme as I am, and let's make the ears. Taking our body color, our Grand Canyon color, we are going to now do the ears. So we're going to line up the last white, the first black, and we're going to cast on as we've been doing. Lots of repetition in this project. It's good for the beginner. And for those of you who are not beginners, who are seasoned, oops, I forgot to change my row counter to 0, but that's okay. You're going to be able to make it through this project in no time. Okay, so this is row 1. This is 2. We're going to do 12 rows. Finishing up on row 12, I'm going to cut my yarn tail, 1.5 rounds length, and we're going to pop that on our needle. Let me grab my needle here, and we're going to remove our stitches. Just like what we've been doing, making sure you keep your tension nice for these 2 needles, because we still have to finish that. And we're going to go around and we're going to release our stitches off of all 22 needles. And then you're going to make a second ear. Okay, friends? So you go ahead and do that. Oops, see how I brought this needle up a little too far? There we go, but I picked it off before it dropped. I'm going to release all these stitches, then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a second ear. Taking those ears, we are going to stretch them, as always. All right. We're going to take our one side and we're going to pull it tight. We're going to reinforce around there once, tie a knot. Once that's done, you're going to pop it through the center, bring that tail out the other side, pull on it a little bit to get that knot up, then you're going to do the same thing to this side. Leaving this tail out, of course, like we've done before, and we're going to smooth that out, pull this tight. I do not have to reinforce around this inside piece. I can, but I don't have to, because I'm going to be, it's going to be folded up like this, and no kid's going to get at it. It's not going to break. So I am going to just cut that one off shorter. We're going to take these 2 and we're going to tie them real tight to bring both sides together. We've done this already once. We're going to tie that good. I'm going to cut this little one off. Then I'm going to take this longer one, which we're going to leave long because you're going to use it to sew. You're going to trail it up to the side. Tie off a knot. Then, having this on the side, you're going to fold this in half. Tuck in that little end. I should have done it a little shorter, but that's okay. You're going to fold it right in half, just like that. And then from that point, we're going to just sew it together. So I'm going to just put my needle in there, go across. Coming back over, going in that side, coming out that side, coming back over, going between those next 2 stitches, and between those 2, and we're getting a nice seam. Okay, so I'm going to do that all the way to the corner. Starts to get a little twisty as you go. Almost there. Untwist that. Hang my piece upside down, let the needle fall, and it will untwist. And I'm into this corner. And again, tying off into a knot. We've got our ear, and we're going to then take this down to the center, right to there. I don't want to compromise this point there though, so I'm going to tie a knot right here. See, so then when I pull on it, this stays to its true shape. I'm going to just go over here, pick up this stitch on the side here, right there, and I'm going to pull this closed. Then go back over here and tie a knot. I'm going to trail this back up to the side. I'm going to go over to this side this time. Not that it matters, but I'll just do it that way. Then tie off in a knot so that it does not gather. Not a very sharp needle. And it's ready for sewing. Okay, there's our one ear. Go ahead, do that to the second piece. I got both ears done and I put one on so that I could tell you how to place them. So what I did is, this is basically even with the bottom of the eye. I don't know, it might not be the same for you. Maybe it's best to look up here. I've got, well, there's just a little, about an inch from the center point there is where this is starting, okay? And it's 2.5 rows over. So that's how I sewed that one on. And now I'm going to take this one and we're going to put it on as well. I'll start it with you. We're going to place this against the head, and we want to line it up the same as that other one. So both there, okay? And I want to make sure it's 1, 2.5. Sometimes I find when people are putting ears on their amigurumi, that they put them way too far back. Ears aren't way back in the back of your head. They're more in the center, a little closer to the front. So let's not put them way back here. Pay attention to detail for this, and go about a row and a half over, just like that. And then what I'm going to do, oops, drop it. Let me just do that again. 1, 2.5, about there. Okay, I'm going to eyeball the stitch where it is. It's about right here. Then I can pick it up there. And because it's at my corner, I've lined it up. And I just want to make sure before I start sewing, that looks about right. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the base and I'm going to pick up a piece. Then I'm going to go, here's where I went in. I'm going to just follow it down. I'm going to pick it up. And if you can get some of that stuffing underneath there, that's good. You don't have to make it completely tight yet. Do a few stitches first. Then I'm going to go back up into here, pick up another one, go back down, pick up a section, and then maybe I can tighten it after a few like that. Okay, then you're going to pull it. You're going to make sure you're going in the right direction. Let's see here, 1, 2.5, about like that. And you're going to keep sewing it on in that way, okay? You'll see that I left this loose because whenever you're attaching two of something, always leave the tail of the first one you put on in case you have to move 1 or 2 of them. Then it's easy to find and you can undo it very quickly, okay? So I'm going to keep going with this one. Coming a little bit closer to the front this time because I think I was going a little bit to the back. And you can manipulate it like that. And I'm going to pick up a section, pick up some of the ear, pull, reassess the situation, 1, 2.5, and pick up, and pick up, all the way down to the corner. This one's a little bit further back. See, I've got this one, 2. It's about, here's a half a row, 1, 2. It's 2.5 rows, so 1, 2.5. This should be ending up about there. So I'm gonna take out these few stitches, just a few. See how I mean? You put one on and then you figure out the other one, and I'm just going to move this one forward a little bit more, just like that, and I'm going to sew it on. You'll see at the top of the head that the top of the 2 ears are exactly in the same place. This was just a matter of bringing this one a little bit forward at the bottom. Okay, I'm going to finish sewing that on, then I'll assess the situation with you. So I like how that's placed, and so what I do next is I'm going to just pick up again right below there. I go up to the first stitch, or just about 1/4 of an inch up the side of the ear like that, and then back into here and up to this point. And the reason why I do that is because now, instead of having a squared off edge there, when I pull on this, see how it rounded it? And it's beautiful. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to put this back onto my needle now that I like how it went. I'm going to go up a stitch. Doesn't matter if you go all the way up to the top to knot off or you go into the middle. This one's a little shorter, so I'm going to put it in there. I'm going to come to the middle. And I'm going to see watch how when I pull. You couldn't see it as much, but it rounds off the bottom, just like that. We are going to then tie a knot off, hide our ends, grab our 22 needle machine, and we are going to make the 4 legs. Okay, so go ahead, finish that off, grab your 22 needle machine. You're going to need this color, and you're going to need the, what do you call it? Yosemite, the oranger color that I'm going to be using. Okay, so grab those things and we'll move on to the next part. It is now time for our arms and legs. I'm going to do all 4 the same way. So we're going to bring our last white and our first black needle in line with our yarn guide. Okay, we're going to cast on in front of that first black, behind, in front and behind, all the way around. Setting our row counter to 0 before we get to the end. And then just like in the body, we're going to go slow for our first round. Just to make sure those loops are dropping down. There we go. And my counter has started counting. And with this color, we are going to knit 15 rows. Doesn't take long, friends. We are already on row 7. 9, 10, I'm going to just stick with you. 11, I love this machine. It just works so smoothly. Your rounds go so quickly and you get your pieces done so fast. It's fun. That's 15. I'm going to watch for that black divider to come around. I'm going to place it in front of my yarn feeder like that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut off my yarn tail. And then I'm going to grab my Yosemite color, pop that into the center. I want to do a jogless join, so then I'm going to take it around to the other side of that white needle. And we are going to knit 6 rows of this color, but we're going to knit 4 needles first, and then we're going to take both of our ends and we're going to tighten up that tension that's at the beginning. Okay, so we're going to go for 6 rows, making it 21 on our counter. There we go. Taking that color, we're going to cut it, pop that into the center between the last white and the first black, and we're going to go back to our Grand Canyon color, pop that in, bring that around to the other side of the white needle. We're going to knit 4 or 5 needles like we always do, pop those down under, give that a little tug. These are a little bit long, so I'm going to cut them off. Okay, and we're going to go for 15 rounds or until we have 36 on our counter. fast this is. And 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, and 36. There we go. And I stop with my last white and my first black in line with my yarn feeder. I'm going to cut off a tail that goes around my barrel 1.5 times at least. Pop that into the center. We're going to cast off a little differently here. It's the same, we're doing the same thing, but instead of doing on this side, I'm going to do it on this side just to show you another way. I'm going to hold this because we still need to knit those two. We're going to turn our barrel all the way until that black one comes about 2 dividers from this, because this needle is starting to pop up now. We don't want this one to, or that loop will fall off. And that's the first one we're going to take off. You're going to put your yarn tail onto your needle and you're going to take that one off. You're going to rotate just a little bit until we can get enough stitches off that we have some slack. I can take 2, pull it straight out so that the needle, this loop doesn't fall off on the next needle. And we're going to continue around that way. This is how we take them off on this side. Okay. And we're going to continue around. With this one, you can actually turn the barrel with your finger just like this. You don't have to grab the handle, so that's kind of nice. Oops, got stuck around that divider. There we go. And take it off, and take it off, all the way around, releasing all 22 stitches. There you go, friends. There's one. Go ahead and do that 3 more times so you have 4 of these. Once you have these pieces done, we're going to take one. We're going to turn it inside out because you can't forget that you need to do the jogless join. Now, it's actually a habit for me to do the jogless join at this point, but for this particular piece, it may not have really been necessary because this part is going to be hidden. But we're going to take these 2 and pull them apart so that those 2 rows slip into place, and we're going to tie. So if you did a jogless join with me, then you had practice. Okay, because you see how this bottom line is here, and then when it goes around in the circle, it comes up one. Actually, it's the other color. Either one, it's the same for both. You just take these 2 and you pull them apart. It was the other way. Until they line up. Just like that. You'll feel when it's time to stop pulling. You barely pull, just a very little bit. Then you tie a knot. And you cut it off. And then I'll show you the other side, even though we're not going to see it. It's still fun to do, if you can find it. But you see how your line is continuous? There's no jog in the color join. The only way I can tell where it is by feeling for it. It's right there. It's right here. See, if you're doing blankets and stuff, it's a great practice to get into, okay? Because it just makes such a nice seam, a nice change color. So what you're going to do is you're going to take one end and you're going to pop it inside the other end. I chose the side with the shorter tail, which is good, okay? And you've got it in half. Give that a good stretch. Okay, you've got it in half. You're going to then smooth out your edges. You're going to put your 2 fingers in there because we're going to only tighten this to 2 finger width. Okay, smooth that out. Tighten it to 2 finger width. Then take this other one, smooth it out. This saved us from doing waste yarn for a flat edge. You can do it this way instead. Smooth that out. Bring that up. I'm going to stick my fingers in this way for this one. And then you can pull on this. You get the drift. You're tightening it to about a 2 finger width only. Just like that. Put put my 2 fingers back in there to make sure. Okay, then you're gonna keep your longest one long and your shortest one can be cut off to make it easier for you to tie. You're gonna take these two and you're gonna tie them together. You don't need to reinforce around the edges here yet because we're going to get to that, and I can go a little tighter. So you're gonna estimate it to be about a 2 finger width, okay? And we're gonna tie a knot. And again, you're gonna tuck this short one into the center. Just like that. You can grab it from the inside if you like. Cut it off because it's gonna be hidden anyways, but I'm gonna just cut it off a little shorter here, just to give you a better visual. You're gonna go ahead, you're going to smooth this out so that your yarn tail is on the side, just like that. Makes it easier for sewing. Pop this onto your needle, and you're going to sew across, picking up all 4 sections, okay? Because there's 2 in here, and there's 2 halves here. And we're just gonna sew across. Make sure you grab all 4. And pull, come across, all 4. Come across, grab all 4. And we're sewing up the edge, just like this. We're gonna stuff it before we sew the rest of this because we're still not finished seaming this, but I tied a knot there. We're gonna go ahead and take a piece of yarn that's this color. We're going to make a gather on the bottom. So you wanna smooth this out. I want my thickness of this piece to be the same on all of them that I do. So I'm gonna go down 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm into that 4th row. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to pick up that stitch, go over 1, pick up 1, go over 1, making sure that I'm going into the 4th row. 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way around, leaving a tail there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4. That way, all of your pieces will have the same width showing, okay? And there we go. And there we go. Go ahead and take some fiber fill, pop it into that piece. Oops. Just like that, and then when I squeeze it, if it pops out, I know I got too much in there. Whether that works or not, I don't know, but that's how I determine. Then I'm going to pull these. I don't want this too overly stuffed. That's nice, just like that. Maybe a smidgen more. There we go. I'm going to tie these off. Giving a nice tight, you should be able to close that completely, but if not, you take your shorter one because we're going to use the longer one to do something else. And yeah, see, mine's not completely closed. And you just go around that first row of stitches. And reinforce and close off. Remember, don't stuff these so full that they look like sausages. You don't want that. And then I'm going to tie that again. 1 and 2. I'm gonna pop this into that center and out the same color so that if the end of it starts to pop out, it'll pop out the same color and nobody will see it. Okay. Play with that. Then I'm going to take this longer piece. I'm going to feed this down through the center and out to the first stitch that's the other color. So there is my Grand Canyon color. I'm going to pop that in through there. Then around that same stitch, I'm going to just tie a knot to secure, just one. Then I'm going to go around and I'm going to pick up, I'm going to go over a stitch, under a stitch, over, under, over the Grand Canyon color, not the same, not the orange color. I want to go above that. And make sure you know where you started, so I'll leave a little loop there. And we're going to just finish off here. Now that I know that I made it to the end, go back underneath that one. I'm going to give this a pull, but I'm not going to pull it so tight that it looks unnatural. Again, you want it to look like it's part of the, you know, that it's a foot that's not just cinched on like that, okay? We don't want a little peaky thing like that. We just want to define it, but keep it true to itself, okay? Then I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to make a knot, and again, pop that into the orange, out the other side, give it a little tug to get that knot inside, cut it off. And we've got one limb that's almost ready to go on. Now I put one partially on here already. I only did it partially because I still have to sew it down in places, but I put it on so that you can, again, see a patterning here. And I'm going to put this on my needle. Now for this one, the front of the arm, here's where my ear is. Here's where my ear goes down. The front of the arm is just slightly behind that. So I'm going to, because I know that this ear is matched with the other one, I'm going to follow it down, and about a half a row behind it is where I'm going to go in with my needle. I have to go this way. Okay, and I'm going to pick up in the neck. Now, I've already got this at the side, and this is where my seaming is, so that's going to be down towards the body. And then I'm going to, instead of having this straight up like that, which sometimes we are used to doing, it's going to go at an angle. So I've got my first corner pieced, and then I'm going to just angle it so it goes like this, not like this, but like this. Easier if I show you the angle with my finger. So that comes on, and then I'm going to angle it. I'm going to look at the other one. I'm going to try to determine at what angle, okay? So you can even just hold it at the front like that, get them all lined up. So this one's going to be sewn down to the head and the neck a little bit better too, and we'll do that after I get this next one on. But you want them to be the same length out. You don't want this one to be longer. You want it to be the same. So once you get your first piece in place, you're going to hold it, and then from there, you can tell where to sew it down. And to sew it down, I'm just going to do the same thing, picking up a piece of the edge there. I'm going to go into the body, pick up a section from the body. I'm going to go back up. I'm going to get a piece of my arm. This is an awkward angle for me, so I'm going to just do this. Okay, and then I'm going to go under. We're going at an angle. I'm going to take some of the stuffing, if I can, with me, and then back up into the arm. Doesn't matter if you go from the bottom up or from the up top here down. And you're going to go back into the body. I'm going to pull this one, then I'm going to assess the situation. See if it's the same. It's looking like it is. Let's see from the front. Is it going to line up the same? Yes, it is. So I know I'm on the right track. So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to sew this down a little bit more. Pull. Pick up that stitch. Sorry, this is really, my hands are really in a funny position here because I'm trying to get it in the camera. Okay, and then what I do is I go down about a stitch on the arm. And when I do that, then I come back up where I went out here and into the center, or let's go to the center this time, or the top, doesn't matter. And I pull. And when I do that, it rounds it off there. And I'm going to do that for this other side too. And then I'm going to just turn this around and I'm going to see if they're placed how I want them. Yes, they are. They're angled, the right position. It doesn't look like a bear yet because we still have to finish the nose, and then it's going to take its shape. And that is how I'm going to sew them on. So I'm going to knot them off here. And when I have the backs knotted off, don't cut your tail because we still have work to do on the arms. All right, so I have them knotted off, but you see, we don't want them floppy like this, right? So we want to push them forward like this. Now that they're in their place in the back, we want to push them forward like that. I'm going to bring this through my piece up to this place there that's close to the face. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to put a little knot in there to secure, just one. And then I'm going to anchor it to the neck right here. So right on the very edge of the eye is basically where this one's lining up. And I'm going to go through and go through my piece. And then go through one more time. I can go ahead and knot that off. Pull that knot down with my thumb. Make one more knot. Pop that into that space, through the body, out, and give it a little tug. Cut that off. And there you have one arm that's shaped and in place. Go ahead and do that to the other one. All right, friends, this little teddy bear is looking very, very adorable. You're going to go ahead and you're going to take your other two legs and you're going to tie off your joins. You see how these were not even, because when you went around it went higher. You're going to tie them off on the inside like we did this other one that I showed you, and you're going to put one end inside the other. You're going to get it to the place where you have your two fingers in there, and you just sew it across just the one way. Then you're going to put your Yosemite color in there, and you're going to make your drawstring across the bottom there. Then you're going to stuff it, and you're going to tighten it on this first row here, just like we did the one together. You're going to do that for both of these, and when you get to that spot, then come back and see me, and we will place our legs. Okay, we have both of our legs done, and what we're going to do with these is we're going to sit up our little bear, and we're going to just have a look at where they look normal, where they look good. You know what you're going to do first, actually, is you're going to take, I haven't done this on any other amigurumi, but I just thought of it, actually, so I'm learning as I go too. I'm going to take this one, and I've got a yarn tail on this end, so I'm going to do it on the end where there isn't one. I'm going to join these two centers together, just like this. Oh, the sun just went down. Is it getting dark in here? I bet you can tell a difference on my video. Let me go turn the light on. All right, so now we're going to have some shadows, but that's okay. So I've got those two stitched together like that. Here's my yarn tail there. I'm going to just take my little bear and I'm going to sit it where it looks natural. You want your ends to be the same distance. So the end of this is the same distance with the end of that. And when we have that accomplished, we're going to hold them all together. We're going to turn it upside down, and that's where we're going to sew our piece on, okay? Just like that. So I need to let go of that middle one. That's where it's going to go. I'm going to put my, be prepared. They say, be prepared. Okay, let me do that again. Okay, so that's like that. I'm gonna hold that on there so that this point is in the center of the nose. Those are even. See how they're even when they line up and you push the arms down? Then I can turn it upside down. I can hold it in place, and I'm gonna stitch it. And it will be perfect. So I got that corner on. Now I'm going to just pick up a stitch here. Then I'm going to go underneath this one. It's a little bit funny to hold it, but you can do it. Just like that. Pick up a stitch. Maybe you can do it in one motion. Go right through. Pick up a stitch. Go right through, and I'm going to go right to the center here, okay? Keeping this tight together. So I know that this piece, I only have to worry about this one right now, because then we'll set it up again, and then we'll replace the other one, or we'll measure it according to this one. And then we're going to just get into there. Just like that. Pick up a stitch. Pick up the edge. Get this one out of the way. I'm gonna go right into the side of this piece. So make sure you get right to the side there. Now I'm gonna eyeball this to see if it's the same. Turn it over to make sure I have it right. There we go. Turn it back upside down. Well, you know, it's easier to just honestly, because I need to switch this out anyways and put this other tail on. It's a bit tricky, but take your time. Take your time, my friends. So let's just take a look at this. Let's get this one out of the way now and take a look at this one. Get all distractions and obstacles out of the way. I want these to be centered. So that is centered. Here's the middle. There's the middle. I'm looking on either side of my finger. It's at the right angle. I'm going to sew it on. I'm going to just be brave. I'm going to sew it on because it makes sense. If it's lined up and it's accurate, it makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and sew it to that side. All right, having finished that, I've got it turned around again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing to the legs that I did to the arms, essentially. So I'm going to take this middle one and I'm going to trail it up to the middle of the leg right there. To the middle of the section. It's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches down. I'm going to tie off a knot. Then I'm going to hold it up to the body just so it's in its natural place, and I'm going to sew it to the body. Just like that. Then go back this way where it was. Maybe you're better left-handed than I am. There we go. And I'm going to go back in, and I'm going to go down a little bit. And pick up a little different section. So here's where we picked up right here. I'm going to go down and pick up just here. Just to make sure it looks a little bit better. Don't want any awkward gaps. Okay? Back into the leg. Out where we started. And that holds together just like that. I'm going to do the same thing to this one using this tail. I'm going to feed it up to here and do the same thing. All right, friends, our little bear is so, so sweet. Now what we're going to do is we're going to grab some black yarn and we're going to do our nose. All right, so I have my yarn on my needle. We're going to, here's where the point is. I'm going to come up above the point about a stitch width. Okay, so I'm going to come in the side here. And I'm going to come up in the center, but not at the point. That's too far down. I'm going to pull this out. Then I'm going to take this right across, measure it to the corner of this eye, okay? And go in at the base there, and then come out at the corner of that eye. And not at the corner, but yeah, even with there. I'm trying to give you as many points of reference as I can. Then we're going to go back down to the point here and up beside this one and come out at the seam there, pull through. Don't pull it as tight as I just did there. Let it be just nice and smooth over the nose. I'm going to change needles. This one's not working for me with the point on it. I can't get as precise as I want. Okay, and so then we're going to come right beside that first strand into the point, right up beside this next one. Pull out. Use your nail to line that up. I don't want these all messy. You want them to line up one right beside each other, and you'll have a much nicer piece. Into the point, out beside that last one. You're going to pull, lining up right there. I got my nail there guiding it, and I'm going to go back and forth like that till I fill this in. I am almost done. There you go. But I have a little piece there that's showing, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to go back over, back down to my point, and you'll notice that my point has gotten lower because as you start to fill this thing in, it gets a little square at the bottom. So I'm going to so you just keep moving your point down just a little bit, but don't go below the middle. So now I'm right into the middle. And to add attention to detail here, actually this one is almost perfect, if I do say so myself. But what I do at the end is I take, once I've done fill it in, I go one more time just along the edge here, along the perimeter. So I'm going to go into there. I'm going to actually go across to this one, to the very edge. I'm going to pull that just to do the border one more time. And from here, and I did have to cut off, take my strand, tie it out the end here, tie it off and hide it into the head like what I will show you with this next piece. But mine was getting too small, so I had to add another one. So then I'm going to outline that edge just like that. This nose got a little thick for my liking. And then into that center, and I'm going to go straight down. But I'm going to assess it, and if I think it's too thick, I will take it out and make it thinner. Because that's important to me. I like to make sure that it's the way it should be. So I pay attention to fine detail. So I'm going to go up into that point, back down to where this is, because it's at a good location. Pull it through. Go back into that top point, under the stuffing and out where I went in, right there. And this is what I did with my last piece before I had to start over and add another piece. Now I've got a double layer there, which is what I want. I actually think this nose is perfect. We are going to cut this off, tie a knot. Remember, when you're tying your knot here, you don't tie this first one too tight or you will compromise that. It'll pull on that. You tie it, put it back on your needle. Pop it into that same hole under the stuffing, out the back of the head, pull on it, take your needle, lift up on this space where you went in, cut this off, lift up on that space, oh, he's adorable. He's absolutely adorable. What we need to do now is to give him a little tail. And you know what? I'm gonna just have fun with it and use my little pom-pom maker. I have a set of 4. This one has a number 45 on it. It's the second smallest. So the second in the side in a set of 4. There's one smaller than this. So I'm gonna open the one side. I'm gonna take both strands. I'm gonna use both of these colors. Such a small thing. I'm gonna stick them in there and I'm gonna wrap. It will take very little yarn for this. Don't worry about those long stragglers because they'll get cut off when we shape our pom-pom. And we're going to just wrap it like this. Okay, till it gets flat on the top there. Close that little piece and we're gonna cut this off. We're gonna open the other side. We're gonna do the same thing. just like this. I get one more over here. Gonna close that up. You're gonna cut that off. You're gonna cut a strand that's about a foot long maybe. Put it in half so you have a loop on one end and your 4 open ends on the other end. We're gonna take scissors and we're gonna cut this down the center. I do have a video on how to make a pom-pom on my Clover Pom Pom maker. And check out other videos that are on my channel, the beanie videos and stuff, because I've done different types of pom-poms. Like you can make designs on your pom-poms, and I've done simple ones, but the last hat that I did, we did a little stripe on both sides. Check it out, the last beanie. It's a slouchy beanie. So you saw how I wrapped that around there, and I put this end through the loop, and then I'm going to pull real tight. Just like that. Then I'm going to take 2 and 2, wrap them around the front or to the other side, just like that, and we're going to tie a firm knot. And again, just like that. Open your sides. Pull your little pom-pom maker apart. Put it back together. Give this a little shake. See, that long one was the one that... And then over the garbage, I'm going to trim this up so it's nice and round. One side is a little bit fuller than the other, but all I do is I take my scissors. I can do it over this mat too. And I trim it up. I give it a good haircut to make it look perfect. Perfect little tail for our country bear. I think I want to put this one on my bed. I'm loving this little guy. So that's what I do, and I'm going to just shake it over the garbage, and I'm going to clean it up just a bit more. Taking our pom-pom, I'm going to take 2 of those strands, place them on my needle. I need one with a little sharper point there, so I'm going to choose this one. Turn my little guy around. Find the middle where I want it to go. Pick up a little section. Let me see when I sit. Yeah, that's perfect. And then I'm going to just grab that section again one more time, pull it through, take these 2. Actually, I need to put this one in. Give these 2 a little tie. Put them on your needle. And go right close to where you were tying your knot. Go in, under the stuffing, and pull it out. Pull on it. Cut it off, take your needle, lift up on your work there, and there we go. We have a little tiny tail. Isn't it just the sweetest? Now this little teddy bear asked me if it could have a scarf, and I said, sure you can. So we're gonna grab our 22 needle machine. You can leave it exactly like this if you like, or if you want to follow along with me, grab your 22 needle machine, your yarn of choice, and let's make a scarf. For the scarf, we are going to use our 22 needle machine. We are going to do a flat panel in circular mode, and we're going to do it over 11 needles. Now, I'm going to do this quite fast because this video is getting long already, or it is long. I have a video teaching you how to do flat panels, so please refer to that to get a slower tutorial. But we're going to use this middle needle as our middle needle on our panel, and we're going to do 5 on either side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to cast on behind that first needle, in front of the next, behind, in front, behind. This is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Under that divider that's to the left of 11, set my counter to 0 because when your black needles are in the middle, it counts every row. Then I'm going to put a little bit of tension on it as I go back. This is row 1. Once it goes under the divider, On the other side of needle 1, I can then go back, put a little bit of tension as I do the first needle. This is 2. Help that down. You generally have to help your end stitches down. Once it goes under the divider beside that needle, I can then put a little bit of tension, go back, making sure those loops are going down over the red teeth. And until you get some weight on here, you always have to help these first and last stitches down. And you're going to keep doing that, just like this. Because your machine loves this yarn, it's not going to take you very long. Back and forth until you have 81 rows. I say 81 because I like to end on this side for my cast off. So friends, I'm going to keep doing that. You can see. I don't need my dividers or my the Addi stoppers, because I just know that it's got to go under the red divider on either side of the needle on either side of the panel before I can turn around and go back. If it goes past that, you're going to increase your rope. So I'm going to keep doing this until I get 101 rows, and when, or pardon me, 81 rows, and when I'm at 81 rows, I will meet you back. Oops, I can finish that one. And 81. There we go. Gonna cut off a little tail. Doesn't have to be that long. You only have 11 stitches. Open your latch. Take that back. You can go till all those stitches are released. And I'll bring it around the other side so you can see. There we go. But stop before that needle pops up and pushes it off. And then you can just take off your stitches. All right, friends, stretch out your work and meet me back. All right, so I have it off the machine and it just curls in on itself like that. You do not have to sew it. It's fine to just leave it like that. You're going to take the ends and you're going to cinch them. This is a country bear. He doesn't mind his scarf like this. And I like it like that actually too. And we're going to just join this closing though, this end, so that it stays just like this. One more. Tie a knot. You're going to feed this in through the center and up through the center here. Just like this. So now you've got it through the center. And then I took my little pom-pom maker, the smallest one. It has, what number is that? I can't see it, you guys. 35, I think, on it. It's the smallest one in the set of 4. And I made 2 little pom-poms. And now we're going to tie them on. Actually, I thought I was going to use this for that, but I'm not going to. So I'm going to cut this off. Be careful when you take your long scarf off the machine that you don't dangle the end strands in your coffee. Ask me how I know that. Okay, there we go. Put 2 of them on there. Then you're going to go through. Here's the center right here. I'm just going to go through right beside the center and come out. I'm going to put the other 2 on. And I'm going to go on the other side of center or into the center. It doesn't matter. I just can't go into the same space. Take these 2. You're going to tie a firm knot, just like that. Then, because this is open and you don't want to see these, you're going to put them back on your needle, just 2 at a time. You're going to go up through that center, up through your pom-pom, pull, 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 and cut it off the same length as the other strands, and you never see it. And I'm going to do the same with these green ones. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same on this end with this other pom-pom. And then I'll see you back. And there we go. I just have it tied at the front there. It's not too tight around his neck. There it is in the back. It's just the cutest thing. Or you can have one side at the front and one at the back. You just put that scarf on however you want. But there is my country bear. I just love him. I think he is so adorable. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I know this tutorial is a bit longer than most of my tutorials, but I try to be as thorough as possible in my instructions to you. So thanks for sticking with me. If you post or if you make one and you post it in any Facebook group, please tag me, Shelley Weeb. If you tag Koala Knits and Knacks, I won't get the notification. So please do Shelley Weeb. I would love to cheer you on. So thanks again for joining me, friends. And I hope to see you in the next tutorial. Take care and have a blessed day.